Hello everyone and welcome to Blaugrana Everything, and welcome back to the channel and a match review as we look at how FC Barcelona once again fell short in a big game at home in front of over 80,000 fans as Koeman's winless streak in big games continued. And speaking of streaks, there were quite a few that saw a continuation during this encounter. This was a third straight Clasico in which a defender scored after Ramos and Mingueza found the net in the last two, and this time around it was David Alaba with a spectacular finish. The other streak that continued was that a Barcelona Clasico debutant found the back of the net for the third straight matchup after Fati and Mingueza scored in the last two. This time around, Aguero was the man to break his duck. Anyhow, this is a match review, so I'll take you through the tactical setup for both teams, then I'll talk about Barcelona's performance on the night, and I'll discuss negatives and positives from the game, as well as pick my man of the match. Let's go ahead and look at how the two teams set up. Barcelona set up with a 4-3-3 with the following players. In goal, Marc-Andre ter Stegen, a back four of Mingueza, Garcia, Piqué and Alba, a midfield three of Busquets, De Jong and Gavi, and a front three of Depay, Fati and Serginho Dest. Real Madrid set up in a 4-3-3 as well. They had Thibaut Courtois in between the sticks, a back four, Vasquez, Militao, Alaba and Mendy, a midfield three of Modric, Casemiro and Kroos, and a front three of Rodrigo, Benzema and Vinicius Jr. Let's now briefly look at how the team performed in this game. It was really a tale of two halves for Barca. First one, you could say that Barca went toe-to-toe with Real and they created as much trouble for Real as they got. And then the second one, it was really more of Real Madrid dominating. However, I've been lamenting ever since the losses to Benfica and Atleti about how terrible Barca's setup is for dealing with counter-attacks. Now, if I'm noticing this from my couch just casually watching, you can imagine that, Carlo Ancelotti probably noticed the same thing as well. Of course, Real Madrid scored their first goal from a counter-attack, Alaba with the spectacular finish. Then Real got a second 4 minutes to the end of the game from another counter-attack before Barca pulled a goal back through Kun Aguero with what was more or less the last kick of the game. In between all those goals, there were some great chances that fell to the likes of Benzema and Dest, as well as some half chances for Fati and Rodrigo, but otherwise I don't think any Kool-Aid will argue that Real did not deserve the win. And I should probably also mention that as far as some of Barca's performances in big matches have gone, this is one of the better ones. Like, from what we've seen lately, it was a much better performance than what we saw against Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid. So, make of that what you may. With all of that said, I can move on to my negatives and positives, and I will start with my negatives. First one of which is not team selection. I thought that the team was actually the best that Koeman could realistically put out. That was the strongest team, and for that I give him credit. But no, my first negative is something that I have already spoken about, which is the failure to deal with counter-attacks. It's not a stretch to say that if Barca had handled counter-attacks effectively on Sunday afternoon, Real Madrid would not have scored both of the goals that they did. They would have maybe scored from other chances, but not those two goals. Koeman needs to learn and also to communicate to his players, in particular, how to make use of tactical fouls. It's an aspect of the game that we see from players like Fernandinho or Rodri at City, and Fabinho or Henderson, Milner and Liverpool. These are things that other teams do to avoid being in a vulnerable situation by cutting off a counter or a dangerous move right at its inception. On the Alaba goal, Memphis had two opportunities to foul Alaba. Mingueza also had at least one opportunity to foul Vinicius. Neither of them had the instinct to make that tactical foul, and so Real Madrid went on to score. And I'm pretty sure the second goal as well, there was probably something similar to that. No opportunities to stop the counter-attacks, which are not taken. So I don't know what Koeman is going to do, but you know what? It's his job. He should do it. He should make this team less porous. I remember that's something which Valverde actually did sort out for Barca, because we had the same problem under Enrique. But under Valverde, I never really saw us conceding counter-attack goals against Real Madrid. And mind you, that was a better Real Madrid outfit than what we're playing now. My next negative is Barca's good old friend, wasteful finishing. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Dest should have scored from that chance he had, and Memphis really should have tried to work Courtois instead of passing up responsibility. I mean, his failure to take a shot is what eventually led to Real running down the other end and scoring. I'm talking about that opportunity to shoot he had just before Real Madrid scored their second goal. My final negative was the lack of character from some of our biggest players on the big stage once more. I'm just going to say that Depay, De Jong, and Alba just didn't seem to show enough for me on the day. I'll excuse Alba because, like I had mentioned in my last upload, he is playing through pain, he's playing with an injury, had to take shots, and as a result, I think it did contribute to him playing within himself. Not that it stopped him from, busting his guts to track back this one time on Rodrigo. I thought he did really well there. But for Memphis and De Jong, it just has to be better, guys. They have to stand up more and to take more responsibility. Like Memphis, bruh, like you are the man up here. Like, take that shot. Do not try to pass it off to Gerard Piqué. He's a defender. You are a striker. Take the shot. Anywho, I don't really have any positives. Maybe if I was really reaching, I can point to Aguero getting his first goal, and now that offers a glimmer of hope at more clinical finishing up front. But this is Barcelona. Hope doesn't survive very long around here, especially with Koeman in that seat. But aside from that, I don't know, maybe Gavi holding his own well there. There just really weren't any positives here, guys. So let's talk about the man of the match. And there was really only one man, in my opinion, who deserved that title, and that was David Alaba. In my last upload, I spoke about how he can influence the match, and his wonder goal really went above and beyond what I was expecting. Never mind as well, he had a really, really big block on Ansu Fati going into halftime. And David Alaba, man of the match. That just about does it for my match review. What are your thoughts on the game? Who was your man of the match, and what do you think should change for Barcelona to stop losing in big games, never mind to start winning big games? Thank you for tuning in, and do not forget to like and subscribe to Blaugrana Everything for more content. I'll see you soon. Have a great day, and Forza Barca.